Being like really disrespectful.
All right. Who, the Green Knight?
Oh my gosh, did you? Wear
I
green on
wish I could
purpose?
say that. No, I
You
don't.
really could.
So again, we talked about this last time a little bit, but the Green Man was basically a pagan representation of nature. What? The Green
I'm
Man.
gonna get some on that, like.
So what shade of green was it? Was it like that shade of green or like emerald?
It would be like kind of like a forest type leaves, that type of thing, because it's meant to represent nature. The Green Man is not evil, but it's also not Christian. So again, when he's battling the Green Man, it's a battle between Britain's pagan past and its new kind of Christian religion.
Wait, they were pagan?
So,
Well, that's like the old religion.
has anybody actually looked up
It's like
paganism?
the old religion, right? I
I
heard
thought
it.
pagan was witches.
Yeah, it sounded like witches.
So not necessarily. So paganism is actually, and there's debate about this, but most people think it basically wasn't even a term that people used to describe themselves. It was the Christian term for people who believed in like polytheism.
Oh,
So
yeah.
like multiple gods, like that's the old world type
People that
thing.
didn't believe in
Yeah,
just being
they also
Correct.
called them heathens.
Because that they believe in multiple gods. All right, so in this, obviously, we've got the representation of the pentacle, also known as a pentagram. This is not on his shield. Yes.
Yeah, there was a picture of Marion, right?
Yes, there's a picture of Mary as well. We'll talk about the shield. But it's made with 5 strokes, and it's called the endless knot. So you can see this really has no beginning or end.
Okay, I thought like the star and everything because like in this they're like talking about like it's for Christianity and everything like that. But I thought like witches and stuff.
They used upside down pentagrams, right?
Yes.
Oh, so that's just what's up.
It's kind of become, the pentagram has kind of moved away from a Christian symbol. Most people see it as more of like a demonic.
Yeah, that's
It's the
just
same thing with like the cross and the upside down.
I
Yeah.
also had another like so did you know like how there's like different I don't know like different little things of Christianity, you know?
Sects or-
Like the denomination.
Yeah, denominations.
Oh.
Like there's just different denominations
Uh-huh.
of Christianity. And like did Pentecostal come from like the Pentecostal thing?
No, it did not.
Okay.
I can't speak directly. We'd have to look that up, but no, it's and so the pentacle is basically a reference to the 5 wounds of Christ on the cross.
Mhm.
So 2 in the hands, 2. What's that?
Oh, I
Yeah.
found it. The term Pentecostal is derived from Pentecost, an event that commemorates the descent of the Holy Spirit upon the followers of Christ.
Oh, from Pentecost.
From
That's
the
right.
day of Pentecost,
That makes
like,
more sense.
the Holy Spirit like came down on the apostles and they all started speaking in tongues. That's what they got.
Oh, okay.
There you go. All right, so yeah, if the figure is reversed, so it's always meant to have the point at the top. If the figure is reversed, so point at the bottom, that's usually a symbol of black magic. So it's like a perversion of the Christian church.
Oh yeah.
All right, so in the poem, Gawain's shield is very clearly described as a golden pentacle on a field of red. Represents the 5 fists, which we'll talk about. So let's look at line 619 through 669 here. What's interesting is the narrator will just constantly, he'll stop and be like, well, this is important, so I'm going to spend a bunch of time on this. But then other parts of this bit, he'll be like, well, a lot of stuff happened, but I don't want to talk about it, so we're just going to breeze past it.
Yeah, it's just gonna take
What do you think about that?
He wrapped up a whole year while it's just like, hey, the season's changed and now it's the time that he has to go.
Yeah.
What do you think about the way seasons change and how he describes the changing of the seasons?
I think it was like a filler.
It felt like it.
Yeah, it felt like you know like when
you're
you're writing the star test or something, you have to like it just you need a one more paragraph. You have to start doing stupid things. You
Yeah,
have
but
to
that would
like
have been expensive
You
to
have to
do that.
describe like the change of time. You just put it somewhere.
But think about the way he describes it. Like 504, then the world's weather wages war on winter, cold shrinks, earthwards, and the clouds climb.
He starts doing a bunch of alliterations, like especially talking about.
Well, in the original form, this is alliterative, so it would have been pretty much all alliterative.
Because he's extra. Who needs to go in that into depth about freaking seasons? Just say fall.
Or say, hey, it's the next year. Well, he's right.
Well, you have to signify time.
Yeah, so it's gotta serve some purpose, because they didn't write just to fill.
Yeah, he wasn't really, oh, just doing money on work that don't matter.
Exactly. So, I mean, some of it is like violent changes in the world's weather wages war on winter. So it's almost like each season is killing off the one before it and moving on, so maybe it's some representation of Gawain creeping closer and closer to death. So we're not sure entirely, but that might be something to look into.
Do we know how old?
Or
I don't
They
know.
don't.
Is he like
They say how
50
old he
something
was.
or is he like? I feel like he's old.
I thought he was young.
I thought he was
Might
middle
be
age,
old,
like
like
30s.
40s.
Yeah.
I would say probably like 30s. He's definitely battle hardened, but he also looks very much like a knight and very attractive, so I would assume he's still kind of a young man.
Oh man. You know what that is?
A bachelor.
Like he's mature enough, but not wise.
Yeah.
Derek Shepard.
Not wise?
Like I feel like older people are known to be really wise.
Yeah.
So not that wise. He's like mature to know what to do. Like he has some experience in life, but he's not that experienced.
Okay.
He's not wise.
Oh, so then who the old lady, this was the two ladies, so was he like a transgender?
What?
Whoa,
Excuse me,
like
what?
what?
Transgender? Like, okay, no, like I'm in my own head right now. But like, okay, so the two ladies, they represent him, like his youth and his older life, so like, he's just in the middle of it.
What do you think?
You could be that.
Oh.
Is he in that period where
Yeah, like he's
swapping
just in
from
the
one to
middle.
the other?
It's showing like the future.
Right, he just
He
went
has
out
to be
there.
the
Yeah.
present and the future.
Yeah.
I kept relating it back to the Christmas story, or not the Christmas story. What's that one with the ghost?
Christmas girl?
Yeah,
Christmas
Casper. Yeah,
Okay.
I kept because the guy, I don't know. And then they were talking about the
What if
green
the
beard or the
old
red
lady-
beard. And,
What if the old lady was there to cause him like envy her because he thinks he's gonna die?
All right,
He's like,
we'll get to that. Yeah, let's stick with this. All right, so the main thing, he spends about 50 lines going through just the shield itself. And you can see there's even a representation of the shield in the book.
That's not a good picture.
All right. So let's just look at those lines though real quick. Then they showed him, 6:19, then they showed him the shining scarlet shield with its pentacle painted in pure gold. He seized it by its strap and slung it around his neck, and he looked well in what he wore and was worthy of it. And why the pentacle was appropriate to that prince, I intend to say, though it will stall our story. So here,
The author's like, I want to tell you something.
I'm going to tell you about it.
Yeah.
It's going to make the story longer, but oh well, I want to tell you. It is a symbol that Solomon once set in place. What's Solomon reference to?
the Bible?
Yeah, another biblical allusion there.
Oh, I
There's a
wrote
lot
that
of
down.
them in here.
Yes. And it's taken to this day as a token of fidelity. What's fidelity?
Fidelity cheating? Oh no, that's the same
isn't
fidelity.
that like loyal?
Yeah, it's loyalty, faithfulness to a cause. For the form of the figure is a five-pointed star, and each line overlaps and links with the last, so it is ever eternal. And when spoken of in England, is known by the name the endless knot. So it suits this soldier in his spotless armor, fully faithful in 5 ways, 5 times over. For Gawain was as good as the purest gold, devoid of vices, but virtuous, loyal, and kind. So bore that badge on both, his shawl and shield alike, a prince who talked the truth, known as the noblest knight. So it goes into a lot of detail about why he's worthy to have this shield. So in medieval symbology, red signifies humility, also the blood of Christ, and gold signifies perfection. So you can see he's very much described as like just the perfect guy, the perfect knight.
I was gonna talk about after like whatever you just read,
Uh-huh.
like they give like hints of like Catholic, like of the Catholic Christianity.
Like what?
It's like okay, so Mary. Oh yeah, like they instead of mainly like using Jesus or like God or
Right.
like they use a lot of Mary.
Right.
Mary
Mhm. Yeah, so Mary is seen as kind of a deity almost herself. But yeah, he would be a knight of Mary. So the first group at the top there is the group of the 5 senses. So in other words, all of his five senses were honed. So he was a great soldier.
Is that kind of like a little cue to like the ladies who you couldn't see anything but like her, like, the thing that she uses for her?
I thought she
I don't
was.
know, I looked it up and it was like this.
So,
So I was looking up what the fifth one meant, because I was kind of confused with what it
Okay,
was saying.
yeah.
And then I looked it up and it said something about the old lady with the five senses thing. I don't know.
Okay, we'll get into that. All right, so yeah, the
I
first
thought-
group's the five senses.
a question. Wasn't Sir that
Sir
guy?
Gawain?
Wasn't he not a good knight? Like in the beginning?
He thought of himself not.
Yeah.
Like, was being humble.
He was being humble. The sign of humility is
Or,
okay.
is what
fishing for compliments.
a good knight should be
I
humble.
thought he just
Well, I don't
wasn't
think
a
so,
good
because they say.
knight, but he wasn't a good person.
No, he would have been both.
Like that type. You know?
Yeah. No, he would have been both. He was a good knight, good person. He was virtuous all around.
It was raining.
Yeah,
Hello.
we're pretty good about it.
Mhm.
Wait, so this one?
You go back first.
The Polish morning.
All right.
Where is it then? It's like purple.
All right. Second group of attributes is the five fingers. So obviously the five fingers in the hand. Yeah, let's move on. The third group is the five wounds of Christ during the crucifixion. So again, reference to Christianity and the cross. As Christ died on the cross, so much Gawain be willing to lose his head without fear. We have that illusion as well. Also a reference, so this is the Jerusalem cross. It's the wounds in the hand, the wounds in the feet, and the wound in the side of Christ. So when they poked him to see if he was dead.
You could also be a reference like Jesus went and he knew he was gonna die.
Uh-huh.
Like, wait.
Basically, yeah.
He is. Nothing.
So he's not really a Jesus-like
That's
figure,
it,
just
my
because.
thought process.
Why? Okay, let's explore that though. Why? Do you think he's?
Let's go to your mind.
I'm not gonna lie, I was kind of making a joke, but all right.
I think to a certain extent, he knows or at least thinks he's going to his death.
I mean, there's just so many so much symbolism of like Christ and Christianity, and then
Uh-huh.
he's going to meet his death, kind of like how
It's a
Jesus
similar
knew that he was
story.
going to die.
Yeah. So now Jesus was sacrificing himself for the sins of the world, but is Gawain really? I mean, he
Not for the sins, he just did it
Not
for
for
like
other people, but
honor,
he
really.
did it for honor. He did it. He stepped in for Arthur, but at the same time, he didn't know it was going to end with
The Hunger Games.
I think he did it. I don't think he did it. Like, speaking of that case, he did it.
I think it's kind of like the knightly code. All right. The next fourth of these is the five fifths. So the five joys of Mary is the fourth one. So that's the Annunciation, the Nativity, the Resurrection, the Ascension, and the Assumption. So
Those aren't the ones that go here, right?
no,
Okay, those are, okay, no.
these are part of the fourth. This is the five joys of Mary. So you have the Annunciation. So anybody know what these are in reference to?
Oh my gosh, I remember reading about it. Wait, no, never mind. I
Yeah.
thought it was a,
Like, isn't it talking about the Bible? Like,
Yes.
yes, it's talking about when the angel comes and tells her that she's gonna have a baby.
Yes, the Annunciation. The angel tells Mary
And then
she's
she
gonna.
has the baby, and then when Jesus died, he rose, and people saying that he's gonna come back.
Okay, so this one is actually
where we at?
the people that believe Mary was carried off into heaven at the end of her life.
Oh, yeah.
So the assumption was Mary being taken into heaven. But yeah, everything else right. This is where they say you're going to have Jesus, the birth, the death, Christ's resurrection, but this has to do with Mary herself being carried up in heaven.
What's that gonna do with him, though?
No, that's her.
It's the five fifths.
It's Mary's.
It's Mary's.
It's Mary's.
Yeah, so he's a knight of Mary, so
There's
he
a
holds all these virtues. This is
His four.
who he is, what he believes in.
That's one of the four. Those five are one of these four.
Yeah, the five joys of Mary.
Mary,
Yeah,
the fact that it's like Mary.
So it's called the five fifths or the five books of Mary?
The entire thing is the five
One
fifths.
of the five fifths is the five books of Mary.
Yes, the fourth five fifths.
Are they just
I didn't know.
No, I don't think it necessarily needs to be in a specific order. They do say an order in the
Yeah.
poem though.
Mary
So that's
and
the-
joys?
And then the five fifths was the five social graces, so love, friendship, purity, courtesy, pay your piety. So this would have been like the knightly code of chivalry, basically what every knight should obtain to. This is,
I had to look that one up.
which one did you miss?
Friendship.
So what are the five? Without looking, who can say what the five are?
Senses, fingers,
Senses, fingers,
wounds,
wounds.
Mary's joys, and that one.
Okay, that was
social grace.
Wait, I had to
Social
look that one
graces,
up. The way the book explained it, I didn't really know.
Yeah, this one is really just what knights
Side with Christ.
should kind of do.
Because it was like,
The third one's the five wounds of Christ. And then it's the five
it says it included friendship and fraternity with fellow men, purity and politeness that every Christ at all times, and pity which surpassed all pointedness. I didn't know like what word to from.
Okay, it's basically like the code of honor for knights, how they should live. Okay, so they go into all that detail about the shield. And then,
That's a lot of five.
again, everybody's crying, they're saying, what a good man, what a waste of a good man as he's riding off.
Did his horse like sparkle?
I was like,
Is
this is
it
So
hard?
no, they just like loaded him up with all this armor that's sparkling.
They're probably like the metal ones.
Because, I think they basically put
like,
a lot of gold on the horse as well.
well, it said spiked with the spurs.
It's so-
The steed sped away with such force that the firestone sparked underfoot.
It's so
So he was
So yeah, probably maybe the armor is dragging a little bit because he just took off.
Oh, poor horse. I was thinking he's fast.
Yeah, he would be fast as well.
Cause like the horseshoes.
Alright, so, does he know where he's going?
No.
No, he has no idea where he's going.
He's being led by, he is 2 miles away from, that's what it's like a good said, right? Yeah, the very.
Not when he starts off, he's
Well, he
going.
kept asking it to the.
When he gets to that castle, yes.
He kept asking, some people say that they
Okay.
didn't know.
Alex? Allie, go ahead.
Oh, he kept asking people, like, when he got to somewhere, like, have you heard of this?
Yeah, and
What
like
is
they
it?
all said.
And they said no,
No, we
so he
never
just
heard.
kept going forward.
So he has no idea where he's going, he's just kind of
Gut feeling.
winging a prayer.
I
Gut
feel
feeling.
like that the green man's gonna find him.
Well, no, because the green man said, you need to come find me, like, I found you.
No, but she feels like.
Yeah, I think that's part of the quest, that he has to willingly, so kind of like Jesus, he has to willingly show up for what he believes is his death.
And I
Because
think,
he could run away, he has a whole year, he could hide away,
Oh,
yeah.
Wasn't he like, dang, I wish I had a place to stay for Christmas.
he was.
He prayed, and then.
Yeah, he
That's
prayed,
when
and
that.
then all of a
Also, he
sudden
almost
kind of
died of like the
appeared.
most lame way possible. He almost froze.
What do you think about his journeys and the way,
Honestly, it's
How
what did
they
they call the
describe it.
caveman? Wow.
but was it boring?
Not for him.
Not for him.
Yeah, not for Gawain, like he went on these great adventures.
I mean, that sucks for him.
So momentous are his travels among the mountains, to tell just a tenth would be a tall order. Here he scratched with serpents and snarling wolves, here he tangles with woodwolves, causing trouble in the crags, or with bulls and bears in the Ava boar. Hard on his heels through the highlands come giants. Only diligence and faith in the face of death will keep him from becoming a corpse.
Where are you at?
Like,
2:19.
7:18.
It starts at 7:20.
7:18 is what I started.
Thank you. Oh, got it.
So, sounded like an amazing adventure, but again, the narrator's just like,
He
it'll
goes
take
through
too
these
much
things.
time. Like, I'm gonna stop and
Well,
spend 10 minutes telling you
why
about the
is he
shield,
so rushed?
but I'm gonna just skip through this part where he fights all these beasts.
How does the narrator know?
Hold on. One
How
second.
does the narrator know what all he did? If he doesn't come up with it?
He makes it up.
They
Like,
also have,
Emily
I
did
think
all of it.
the author of this is like really like, oh. I just forgot everything that I was gonna say.
Got some great comment in there.
It did. It's like, oh, not today.
the Christmas tree that they had, he said like, it would be too much to like describe in detail.
Yeah, he does it again later on. It's too much to describe, so let's just move past it.
I think that he's like, his priorities are mixed up. You know,
Okay.
like this could like show like the author is like his what matters, what should matter doesn't really matter. Like in the beginning, he like goes into this long description of just the season.
Yeah.
But in parts that really should have and could have went into depth, they didn't.
Right.
So like that can show like the author, maybe his priorities are different or kind of.
Yeah, they're definitely different.
Did we figure out not getting recorded supposed to signify, like why they talk so much about?
I think that's just to say that a year.
Yeah,
has
you're
kind of described that
Yeah.
a year.
I'm sure there's more to it. That would be something we probably research to get more information on. Because there's no way that he spends that much time
It's like a paper pack.
going through that
For no reason.
for no reason.
Yeah, that's true.
So there has to be some significance there.
What if like, oh my goodness, I'm fixing to get on another peer trail, I'm gonna stop.
What if it was just to pass time?
So when he was going into the castle,
Yeah.
were the gates shut when he got there, or did they shut right after he went in?
They shut after one.
Like they invited, like the dude out there invited him in.
So again, he's looking for a place, so he prays, oh, it's Christmas Eve, I wish I had a place to worship God on Christmas Day.
But he didn't even worship God.
What?
He didn't even worship God. He was, I wanna say that he was
Well,
worshiping.
didn't God like save
He would worship.
What do you mean?
Yeah, it's like, okay, so like,
At some point, he like
Yeah,
was about to die, and then
he was being frozen to death.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He like prayed, and then
What
he
if it was all a dream?
no, but like, cause he like wanted to find a place to
Uh-huh.
like be it for Christmas, to be able to worship with God and whatnot. But whenever he got to the castle, he wasn't.
He was just spending time. with
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, okay, but like,
He was getting the glory. He wasn't glorifying God. He was getting the glory.
okay, the feasting, all that would be part of
He
the
only cared about
glorifying
Christmas because
God.
of like the celebration. He didn't really care.
They are keeping all this praise on him, yes, but at the same time celebrating Christmas that way.
So why did they praise him?
Yeah, what did he
Yeah,
do?
that was confusing. I'm like,
They
they
were
were
looking
like,
how
glory.
they
his
accepted him
personality,
so
like, the
much.
way he is, he's like,
But it likes him.
The way he is, so he comes off really well, but not only that, they know of him. They've heard of Gawain, they've heard of Arthur and Round Table.
But they didn't even ask him why he was there to make sure that was him. Like, they didn't even make sure to ask him before they let him into their home.
But So that's pretty common though, you see a knight traveling, give him lodging, that's the good thing to do. They're supposed to do that, and they eventually ask him more questions to find out who he is.
What is the building he saw that was like really white? He thought it looked like paper or whatever.
Oh, that's
Oh.
the castle.
That was the castle.
Yeah.
And it's an allusion to like the paper castles that they put
That-
out.
yeah,
during
the
feasting
tables.
time. Yeah. So yeah, they just let him in at the beginning because that's the right
Well,
thing to
he
do.
did have the whole.
And he's all decked out in beautiful armor, so you
Yeah.
assume this is an important man.
Yeah. His horse.
Oh,
Yeah.
I have a question. Whenever the two guys meet with Gawain and what's his name,
Like,
red beard dude,
Yeah.
they meet. Why is okay? So it says on line 840.
Uh-huh.
Then firmly like good friends, arm in arm, they fell. Were they hugging each other? They like rolled to the ground and then some like extra stuff or.
Yeah, they're just like,
Okay.
so,
It's just a nice bromance.
yeah, it's just a nice, hey,
There's
this-
socks on.
thanks for taking me in, this guy looks like a good guy, I'm gonna give him a hug. Then when they find out who he is, then they're like, oh, this man will teach us how to live, because he's a perfect knight. We can learn by
They
his
also
great
liked him
example.
because he was just from King Arthur, right?
Yes,
It's like because of the fact that he was.
but also they knew, they had heard of Gawain.
But I feel like he was stalling. Like, it was just.
Yeah, I felt like he
Well,
was.
they were-
Well, is he stalling though?
They really wanted him to stay. I was like, you need to stay for Christmas, and then he was like, no, I really gotta go, and then he was like, all right, fine, and then he stayed, right?
Yeah,
But this,
because they kept pressuring him to stay, really.
Like, no.
And he's like, no, I have to go.
the hostess little wife or girlfriend, whoever she is, she's crazy. She kind of.
Why do you say that?
Because she's like, no, I don't want to do anything with you. And he's like, yes.
They
I
sat
want
through
you
two
to.
services together.
And why did they like? sit
Wait.
together?
I feel like
Because the king was leaving to go hunt, so he would still need somebody
Like, he
to
laid
sit
in
next to
her- she
Gawain
laid
as an
in her
honored
bed.
guest.
Oh,
I feel like
Here, I think we did in that too,
Oh,
Fit 3.
oh,
Yeah, that doesn't happen.
no.
So yeah, and then, so yeah, we meet the queen, who's very beautiful.
And they start describing.
Even, yeah, so 941. Then she who desired to see the stranger came from her closet with her sisterly crew. She was fairest amongst them, her face, her flesh, her complexion, her quality, her bearing, her body, more glorious than Guinevere, or so Gawain thought.
What
And
is
in the
that?
chancel of the church they exchanged courtesies.
Why did they put ortho?
Like in his
No.
opinion.
In his opinion,
In his opinion,
Because-
she was really good.
Guinevere's always thought to be the
Highest.
highest point of beauty.
Wait, what other book was that in Lamb?
That was in
She was in
Lambeau.
Lambeau, but they didn't describe her like that.
Right.
I
In
mean,
Lambeau,
she was described
She
as
was
like
King
beautiful.
Yeah.
she's expected to be beautiful just because she's Guinevere, but she can't hold a candle to even these elfish creatures.
So this is another creature.
And that same sound.
No, this is a actual.
Oh,
This is an actual.
So this isn't like a fairy castle or anything like that. Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
I'm starting to get the impression Guinevere is not all that great.
The
I mean, I don't like her
stuff-
anyway. I don't like her anyway,
I like her.
Again, that was just from Lambeau, but if you read like more, King Arthur Guinevere's like, except she does have the affair with one of the knights.
exactly, so she's not all that great.
I think it's a.
Sure.
I mean, if
You're
you're
a
a
queen.
Throw rock to the streets. You're entitled to have.
Yes, she is for the streets.
Yeah, okay, and then that's where we get to the point with the juxtaposition of the old and the young lady.
Oh, yeah. It's at the bottom of 2.3.
950.
Upper
They were not the least bit alike. So what'd you think about this? Yeah, it was,
What?
She said her trunk
Her
was
trunk
square
is-
and squat.
Oh,
Bullshit swelled. Most men would semi squint at her with hands.
so it's like, she's like, doesn't even want to look right at her.
Okay, wait. She was a girl. But they were talking about her butt being swole, like, so she had a big old butt. They like
Yeah.
skinny back
yeah, I was gonna say, I thought like.
then? No, when you were
Oh, no. that's
when you
true.
were thicker, that meant you had a lot of food to eat.
Yeah,
And when
Oh,
you were
yeah.
skinnier, you didn't have any food to eat.
So
she got a swole booty.
I think it's like, it's bulge versus like shapely. So there's no like, there's no nice form to it.
Oh, it's just
It's
like.
kind of out
Oh,
there.
okay.
Yeah,
Kind of bad.
it's kind of out there. No shapely form or anything.
Okay.
So not like just a big butt, but like a nice, not nicely formed. Sadly, yeah, maybe. You know.
Oh, yeah. Wait.
So then, if you look at 975, you can see Gawain basically offers his service as a knight, which you should do. And then 981, frequently the Lord would leap to his feet, insisting that mirth and merriment be made. Hauling up his hood, he hoisted it on a spear, a prize he promised to the person providing most comfort and cheer at Christmas time. So it's just like the games they were playing with Arthur a year ago. But how is he compared to Arthur?
Who?
The king.
He's like very welcoming, right? Like,
Yeah, he's
like
very
that.
welcoming.
Oh, and he's like throwing gifts at
Yeah.
It's like a party shop for you.
Gawain. Okay, he's like throwing gifts. King Arthur did it.
Yeah, they don't really describe him doing that. And King Arthur was more bored than anything.
Yeah.
It's like, somebody fight so I can.
So he takes place in the second.
But here, yeah, he's just like more, he just wants more merriment.
Oh, and
Yeah.
this guy, this king, this Redbeard dude,
Mhm.
he like will go out there and like hunt and stuff. Like
Oh,
he'll
yeah,
actually
he
go
was
out there and do stuff while King Arthur was sitting on his
very
doing his
humble.
work.
That's true.
He was
Yeah.
involved in like his own duties.
Yeah.
He
So-
didn't make people do anything for him.
He's not a
And you'll
great
see
dude.
that in the next bit as well. But one thing I want to make sure we hit on before we leave. So he tells them the story, and then right before the end of this bit, what happens?
They
start
challenge.
Yeah, they struck a bargain, just like at the beginning or at the end of the first bit. But it's basically, okay, the king's gonna go out and hunt.
But like that Lord was well aware of how it was the game.
Yeah, and he was like, bro, I was like, is that a trick? Like,
Yeah. Didn't he, like,
that's
possibly.
being aware.
And then,
They are
this
very
guy-
welcoming of him.
Yeah, like,
They're
I feel
trying to
like
get him to
they're gonna-
stay.
Like, that's thinking
Maybe
too.
they're trying to trick him or trap him.
That's
And
what
then
I'm
the
trying to
nice
say.
to, like,
I figured
Oh.
it out,
We
right?
find that out we get to do them.
Exactly, so the king says, all right, hold on, just so you get this, the king says, I'm gonna go out and hunt, whatever great prize I find, I'll give to you. You stay here, whatever prize you gain in the castle, you get back from me. So that's kind of the,
But isn't it already his?
And he says for better or for worse.
He's
that's
gonna
true, but
die.
he doesn't specify what that
Wait,
even
he
means.
dies?
I feel like it has to be a trick because he says that
It
he
has to
knew
be a
how to
trick.
host the game.
Yeah, that
He was like,
line
yeah,
really
like,
makes
that's
sense.
right.
The Lord was well aware of how to host it.
Yeah.
Maybe
And
he's
he is
very
saying-
nice.
There is like weird things that seem to be happening, they're very welcoming.
I know, like,
Overly
it's like,
so.
Like, for example, what's
They,
that?
yeah.
There's a movie, I cannot remember the movie, but they did the same thing where they like welcomed them in and then trapped them.
I think you're talking about.
Yeah.
Get out.
Yeah, get out.
Get out.
Yeah.
They really- Oh,
You
okay,
never
I
watched
see.
it?
I was thinking of something different.
Get out. Get out.
I never watched it.
So tomorrow is a work day for your Frankenstein essay, so you can start thinking about themes. Wednesday is more of a term essay workshop,
Oh, yeah.
but
So when I said,
not for a while.
When's vocab day?
But just so you can start thinking about ideas.